Let me ask you something. How much longer are you going to let weakness control your life? How many more times will you hesitate when you should act? How many more excuses will you make before you finally step up? The truth is, weakness is not something you're born with. It's something you allow. It's a habit, a mindset, a disease that infects your potential. And if you don't kill it, it will kill your dreams, your success, and the person you were meant to become. But today, right here, right now, we are going to put an end to it. We are going to expose it, confront it, and destroy it. Because the moment you decide to kill your weakness, your entire life changes. So if you're ready to break free, if you're ready to unleash the strongest, most unstoppable version of yourself, then let's go. Weakness is not something you inherit. It's not written in your DNA, not carved into your destiny, not an unchangeable force that dictates your life. Weakness is built brick by brick through the choices you make every single day. It's the product of hesitation, of compromise, of settling for less than what you are capable of. It's what happens when you allow fear to dictate your actions, when you let comfort seduce you into stagnation, when you choose excuses over effort. Weakness doesn't appear overnight. It creeps in slowly, disguised as small, seemingly harmless decisions. The moment you hit snooze instead of getting up to train, the moment you tell yourself, I'll start tomorrow, the moment you let self-doubt win, the moment you choose the easy road when the hard road was the one that would have transformed you. It's not the big failures that make you weak. It's the tiny, repeated moments where you surrender to comfort, where you let resistance win, where you tell yourself that it's okay to be less than your full potential. Every time you choose inaction over action, every time you allow negativity to take root in your mind, every time you say, I can't, when you haven't even tried, you are feeding your weakness, making it stronger, giving it control over your future. And the worst part, you don't even realize it's happening. You don't see the slow decay of your power, your confidence, your potential until one day you wake up and wonder how you got here, how you became a shadow of the person you once dreamed of being. But the truth is, that version of you didn't disappear. It was buried under years of weak decisions, of playing it safe, of accepting mediocrity. You cannot defeat an enemy you refuse to face. Weakness doesn't just exist in the obvious moments of failure. It hides, it disguises itself, it seeps into your habits, your thoughts, your decisions, often without you even realizing it. It's not always the loud voice of fear telling you to quit. Sometimes it's the quiet whisper that convinces you to delay, to doubt, to settle. It lurks in your patterns, in the way you respond to adversity, in the excuses you make when things get tough. It shows up when you hesitate to take action, when you avoid the difficult conversations, when you procrastinate on the work that could change your life. It's in the little justifications you give yourself, telling yourself you're tired when you know you could push harder, convincing yourself that you'll start tomorrow when you know you should start now, allowing distractions to steal your focus because deep down you fear what might happen if you truly committed. Weakness thrives in the shadows, in the areas of your life you refuse to examine, in the stories you tell yourself about why you aren't where you want to be. It disguises itself as logic, making you believe that your limitations are real, that your struggles are permanent, that your past defines your future. But if you never take the time to step back and truly analyze yourself, your mindset, your behaviors, your beliefs, you will continue to be controlled by forces you don't even see. You must be brutally honest with yourself. willing to dissect your own actions, to look at where you fall short without sugarcoating it, without making excuses, without blaming circumstances. You have to recognize the patterns that hold you back, the habits that drain your potential, the moments where you choose comfort over growth, safety over challenge, familiarity over progress. You have to ask yourself the hard questions. Where do I keep failing and why? What fears are stopping me from taking action? What beliefs are keeping me stuck? What daily habits are leading me further from my goals instead of closer to them? What am I avoiding because it makes me uncomfortable? Because the truth is, your weakness will not disappear just because you ignore it. It will grow, it will strengthen, it will embed itself deeper into your life until it becomes part of your identity, until you start to believe that it's just who you are. You must be willing to strip away the layers, to expose every hidden excuse, every limiting belief, every self-imposed restriction that keeps you from becoming the strongest, most unstoppable version of yourself. Weakness can only survive in ignorance, in denial, in avoidance. And if you refuse to look it in the face, it will own you. Pain is the lesson you cannot ignore, the force that strips away illusion, the fire that forges the strongest version of you. It does not care about your feelings, your comfort, or your expectations. It is raw, unforgiving, and relentless. It comes when you least expect it, when you think you have everything under control, when you believe you've done enough. And yet, despite its brutality, pain is the only teacher that tells you the truth with absolute certainty. It does not lie, it does not flatter, it does not pretend. It exposes you, forces you to confront your limits, shatters the illusion of who you thought you were, and reveals who you truly are beneath the surface. It is in pain that you see your real strength or your real weakness. It does not build character, it reveals it. It strips away the excuses, the ego, the false confidence, and leaves behind only what is real. Pain will show you where you lack discipline, where you have been lying to yourself. It will expose the gaps in your mindset, the weakness in your habits, the flaws in your approach. And while most people run from pain, avoid it, numb it, pretend it doesn't exist, the ones who understand its value lean into it, embrace it, learn from it. Because pain is a doorway. It is the key that unlocks growth, the breaking point that separates those who stay the same from those who rise. Every great achievement, every moment of transformation, every act of strength has been birthed from pain. No one who has ever accomplished something extraordinary did so without enduring suffering, without walking through the fire, without facing hardship and refusing to break. Pain is what forces you to evolve. It forces you to make a choice: stay down or get up, surrender or fight, break or become unbreakable. The pain of failure teaches you resilience. The pain of discipline teaches you mastery. The pain of rejection teaches you self-worth. The pain of loss teaches you gratitude. Every struggle, every setback, every disappointment is shaping you, molding you, preparing you for what's ahead. The problem is not pain itself, the problem is how you choose to respond to it. Most people see pain as a signal to stop, a reason to quit, a confirmation that they are not capable. They misunderstand it. They believe that pain is a sign that something is wrong, when in reality, it is proof that something is changing. It is the price of transformation, the toll you must pay to reach the next level. The more you resist it, the more it persists, the more it controls you. the more it defines you. But when you embrace it, when you face it head on, when you stop avoiding it and start learning from it, you realize that pain is not your enemy, it is your greatest ally, your most powerful tool, the force that will push you beyond what you thought was possible, breaking you down only to rebuild you stronger. Excuses are the poison that kill dreams before they even have a chance to breathe. They are the easy way out, the safety net for the weak, the justification for staying small, staying average, staying stuck. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall between you and your potential, a self-imposed barrier that keeps you from breaking through, from leveling up, from becoming the person you were meant to be. Excuses don't just delay your progress, they destroy it. They rob you of momentum, steal your confidence, and reinforce the lie that you are not capable. And the worst part, excuses feel comfortable. They feel justified. They feel reasonable. Your mind will craft them so well that you start believing them as truth. I don't have time. I don't have the right resources. I'm not ready yet. I'll start when I feel more motivated. It's just not the right moment. These are not real obstacles. They are illusions, mental chains disguised as logic, designed to keep you exactly where you are. Because the truth is, if something truly matters to you, you find a way. If it doesn't, you find an excuse. But excuses are never neutral. They don't just delay action for a day or a week. They become habits, patterns, part of your identity. The more you allow them, the more they control you. The more you let them dictate your decisions, the harder it becomes to break free from them. And then one day you wake up and realize that you've spent years convincing yourself that your dreams were impossible, when in reality the only thing stopping you was the story you kept telling yourself. Excuses are seductive because they remove responsibility. They allow you to shift blame onto circumstances, onto other people, onto bad luck, onto anything but yourself. They give you permission to stay small without feeling guilty about it. They keep you comfortable, and comfort is the greatest enemy of growth. But here's the truth. No one who has ever achieved anything great has done so by making excuses. No one has ever built an empire, broken records, shattered limits, or changed their life by explaining why they couldn't. The people who rise, the ones who separate themselves from the masses, are the ones who refuse to entertain excuses. They burn them, they eliminate them entirely. They operate under a different mindset, one where there is no room for blame, no space for hesitation, no tolerance for self-imposed limitations. They don't wait for the perfect moment, they create it. They don't wait until they feel ready. They take action despite the fear, despite the doubts, despite the obstacles, because they understand that excuses are a choice, and so is greatness. And the moment you decide to stop negotiating with your weakness, stop giving yourself reasons why you can't, and start focusing on how you can, everything changes. Strength is not something you are born with. It is not handed to you, gifted to you, or inherited. It is not something you wake up with one day, fully formed and unshakable. Strength is built. It is constructed through effort, through struggle, through relentless repetition. It is forged in the fires of discipline, in the moments when you feel like quitting but push forward anyway, in the times when everything in you screams to stop, but you refuse. Strength is not about talent, luck, or natural ability. It is about work, the unseen hours, the late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices that no one claps for. It is about choosing to show up when it's hard, when you're tired, when you don't feel like it, when you have every reason to stop, but you keep going. Because strength is not found in comfort, it is carved out of adversity. Every rep in the gym, every extra hour of work, every mile run when your legs are burning, every moment of self-doubt that you push through, every failure that you refuse to let break you, that is where strength is built. It is not something that appears overnight. It is not something that can be given to you by someone else. You cannot buy it, borrow it, or fake it. True strength is earned. It is the result of pushing yourself beyond your perceived limits, of stretching yourself further than you thought possible, of embracing pain, struggle, and hardship as the necessary ingredients for growth. Strength is not about how much you can lift, how far you can run, or how much you can endure physically. It is about resilience, about the ability to keep moving forward no matter how many times you get knocked down. It is about mental toughness, about training your mind to override fear, doubt, and hesitation. It is about emotional control, about refusing to let your circumstances dictate your actions. It is about discipline, about showing up every single day, whether you feel like it or not, because you understand that progress is built through consistency, not motivation. Strength does not come from taking the easy path. It comes from the struggle, from the resistance, from the moments when you are tested and choose to rise instead of retreat. It comes from pain, from failure, from setbacks that could have broken you, but instead became the fuel that propelled you forward. Every strong person you admire, every legend, every success story, every champion, they were not given their strength. They built it, brick by brick, day by day, through every challenge, every hardship, every sacrifice. And while the weak search for shortcuts, for hacks, for an easier way, the strong understand that there is only one way, through the fire, through the grind, through the battle that transforms weakness into power. Weakness is not defeated by motivation, by inspiration, or by wishing things were different. It is not something you can simply think your way out of, hope your way out of, or talk your way out of. Weakness is only destroyed by one thing: discipline. Discipline is the executioner of weakness, the force that drowns out excuses, the weapon that eliminates hesitation. It is the relentless, unwavering commitment to doing what must be done, regardless of how you feel, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of whether or not it's convenient. Because weakness thrives on inconsistency, on emotional decision-making, on waiting until you feel like it. But discipline does not care how you feel. It does not negotiate, does not waver, does not wait for the perfect moment. It acts, it moves, it takes control. Discipline is what separates those who talk about greatness from those who actually achieve it. It is the foundation of every success, every transformation, every act of strength. It is the difference between the person who makes progress every day and the person who stays stuck in the same cycle of excuses. Discipline does not allow for negotiation. It eliminates hesitation, removes doubt, destroys procrastination. It forces you to show up, to push forward, to execute, even when your body is tired, even when your mind is screaming for comfort, even when every part of you is looking for a reason to quit. Discipline is the ability to control yourself when no one is watching, to stay on course when distractions are calling, to stay committed to your goals when everything else in life is tempting you to take the easy road. It is waking up early when you don't want to. It is hitting the gym when every muscle in your body is sore. It is choosing the harder path because you understand that weakness is built in moments of compromise, in the little decisions that seem insignificant but add up over time. Because weakness does not come from one bad day. It comes from a pattern of allowing yourself to slip, from justifying your laziness, from making small, repeated decisions to take the easy route instead of the disciplined one. Discipline is the only thing that will pull you through when motivation fades, because motivation is temporary. It comes and goes, it fluctuates with your mood, with your energy, with the circumstances around you. But discipline is permanent. Discipline is what allows you to get up and do the work even when you feel like doing anything but that. Discipline is what forces you to take action when every excuse in the world is telling you to wait until tomorrow. Discipline does not care about your feelings, it cares about results, about consistency, about execution. And that is why discipline is the enemy of weakness, because weakness thrives in inconsistency, in hesitation, in compromise. Weakness lives in the gaps, in the moments where you allow yourself to relax when you should be grinding, in the times when you let yourself off the hook instead of pushing through. The truth is, if you are not training your discipline, you are training your weakness. Every time you skip the workout, every time you procrastinate on your goals, every time you let yourself off easy, you are strengthening the very thing that is holding you back. Discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you develop, something you train, something you sharpen through relentless repetition. It is the muscle that must be worked daily, the mindset that must be reinforced in every action, in every decision. It is the hammer that crushes weakness, the sword that cuts through doubt, the armor that protects you from becoming the person you fear, someone who gave in, someone who quit, someone who settled. Discipline is the force that keeps you moving forward when everything inside you wants to stop. It is the fire that burns away the lies you tell yourself, the excuses you cling to, the comfort that seduces you into weakness. It is what separates the strong from the weak, the winners from the quitters, the unstoppable from the average. Because when you have discipline, you have control. You own your mind, you own your actions, you own your future. And weakness has no place in the life of someone who is truly disciplined. The most powerful chains are not the ones wrapped around your body, they are the ones wrapped around your mind. The greatest prison is not made of steel bars or concrete walls. It is built from fear, doubt, and self-imposed limitations. It is the invisible force that keeps you stuck, that convinces you that you are not capable, that tells you that success is for someone else, that whispers in your ear every time you try to step forward, reminding you of every failure, every mistake, every reason why you should just stay where you are. It is the mental cage that keeps you locked in old habits, old beliefs, old excuses. And unless you break free, you will never reach your full potential. This mental prison is not built overnight. It is constructed piece by piece, over years of conditioning, over years of playing it safe, of accepting the opinions of others, of allowing fear to dictate your decisions. It is reinforced by every time you hesitated when you should have acted, by every time you listened to the voice in your head that said, "You're not good enough." It is made stronger every time you settle, every time you tell yourself, "Maybe next time." And the worst part, most people never even realize they are trapped. They go through life following the same patterns, repeating the same cycles, feeling like they are stuck, like something is holding them back, never realizing that the prison they are in was built by their own mind. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your perceptions. These are the bars that keep you confined. You say you want to change, but in the back of your mind, you still carry doubts. You want to succeed, but you tell yourself stories about why you can't. You want to push forward, but the fear of failure holds you in place. Every single day, your mind presents you with a choice. Break free or stay locked in. And most people, without even realizing it, choose to stay locked in. They accept their limitations as reality instead of challenging them. They convince themselves that they are not meant for greatness, that success is for other people, that they're not talented enough, not lucky enough, not ready. But these are not facts. They are simply thoughts, beliefs, illusions that have been programmed into you. And the truth is, the only way to escape this prison is to shatter those illusions, to rewrite the narrative, to take complete ownership of your mind. You have to question every belief that limits you. Who told you that you weren't good enough? Who convinced you that you couldn't succeed? Where did these ideas come from? Were they put there by failures of the past, by people who doubted you, by a society that conditions people to think small? You were not born with limits. You were taught them. You adopted them through experiences, through rejections, through moments of fear. And just as they were programmed into you, they can be unprogrammed. Breaking the mental prison requires awareness. You have to recognize the thoughts that are keeping you stuck. You have to observe the way you talk to yourself, the way you think about challenges, the way you respond to failure. Do you see obstacles as barriers or as opportunities? Do you see failure as a reason to quit or as a lesson to grow? Do you define yourself by your past mistakes or by your potential for the future? The way you answer these questions determines whether you remain locked in your prison or whether you break free. And breaking free is not comfortable. It requires discomfort, challenge, struggle. It requires stepping into the unknown, taking risks, doing things you have never done before. It requires letting go of old identities, of old beliefs that have kept you safe but also kept you small. It requires confronting your fears head on and realizing that fear is nothing more than a liar, a shadow, a trick your mind plays on you to keep you from stepping into your power. Most people are terrified of change because their prison has become familiar. They would rather stay locked in because at least they know what to expect. At least they know how life feels within their limits. But comfort is the enemy of growth. If you want to break free, you must be willing to destroy the walls you have built around yourself. You must be willing to step into the unknown, to rewrite the story, to challenge every single thought that tells you that you are not enough. Because the truth is, you are not trapped. You never were. The key has always been in your hands. You just have to be willing to use it. You are not just a product of your own thoughts, habits, and actions. You are also a product of the people you surround yourself with. The energy, the mindset, the discipline, the ambition of those around you will either lift you up or pull you down. If you surround yourself with weakness, you will absorb weakness. If you surround yourself with excuses, you will start making excuses. If you surround yourself with people who settle for mediocrity, you will find yourself slowly sinking into that same mediocrity without even realizing it. Your environment is shaping you every single day, and if you are not intentional about the people you allow into your life, you will be held back by the limitations they impose, not just on themselves, but on you. Look at the people around you. What do they represent? Are they pushing you to be better, to think bigger, to demand more from yourself? Or are they keeping you comfortable, allowing you to stay the same, validating your excuses, feeding your doubts. Weak people attract weak people because weakness loves validation. It thrives in circles where complaining is the norm, where failure is accepted without resistance, where struggle is met with quitting instead of pushing through. But strong people demand more. They challenge you, they hold you accountable, they force you to confront your limitations, to step up, to show up, to execute. Strong people do not tolerate laziness, do not entertain excuses, do not allow weakness to fester. And if you do not have people like that in your life, you are missing one of the greatest tools for growth: the power of association. The truth is, you cannot do this alone. No one can. Every successful person, every high achiever, every person who has pushed past their limits and created something great had people around them who fueled their fire, who sharpened their mindset, who reinforced their discipline. You need to be in environments that force you to level up, that make you uncomfortable in your old ways, that expose your weaknesses, not to shame you, but to help you eliminate them. You need to be surrounded by people who do not let you settle, who do not accept your excuses, who see your potential and demand that you live up to it. Because when you are around strength, you become stronger. But this also means cutting ties with those who hold you back. And this is where most people struggle. They do not want to let go of friendships, of relationships, of people they have known for years, even when those people are keeping them small. But the hard truth is, not everyone is meant to go where you are going. Not everyone is willing to do the work, to make the sacrifices, to commit to the level of discipline and focus that success requires. And if you keep yourself tied to people who are not growing, who are not pushing themselves, who are not willing to demand more from life, you will be dragged down by their stagnation. You cannot expect to fly while carrying dead weight. You must be ruthless with your circle. You must be intentional about who you allow into your space, into your mind, into your energy. You must seek out mentors, people who are ahead of you, who have walked the path, who can guide you, who can challenge you. You must find peers, people who are on the same mission, who refuse to accept average, who are grinding just as hard as you. And you must become an example for those who are coming up behind you, those who are looking for leadership, for inspiration, for proof that it is possible to break free from weakness and build something powerful. This is not about arrogance. This is not about thinking you are better than others. This is about knowing that your environment determines your future. This is about understanding that if you want to be strong, you must surround yourself with strength. If you want to be great, you must surround yourself with greatness. If you want to break limits, you must be around people who have already shattered theirs. Because who you spend your time with is who you become. And the sooner you accept this truth and take control of your circle, the faster you will rise. Struggle is not your enemy. It is not something to avoid, something to fear, something to run from. Struggle is your greatest ally, your greatest teacher, the one thing that has the power to transform you into the strongest version of yourself. But most people don't see it that way. Most people see struggle as suffering, as punishment, as a sign that they should stop, that they should turn back, that maybe this path isn't for them. And that is why most people stay weak. That is why most people never achieve their true potential, because the moment things get hard, they retreat. The moment they feel discomfort, they quit. The moment they experience failure, they take it as a sign to give up instead of a lesson to grow. But the truth is, the very thing you are avoiding The pain, the hardship, the resistance is the thing that will make you unstoppable. Nothing great has ever been built without struggle. Every champion, every leader, every success story, every person who has ever accomplished anything worthwhile has one thing in common. They embraced the struggle. They did not shy away from it. They did not try to escape it. They did not wish for an easier road. They welcomed it. They understood that the struggle is not there to break them. It is there to build them. Every challenge, every obstacle, every failure, every setback is a test to see how bad you want it. A test to see if you are willing to endure, to fight, to push through when things are not easy, when things are not comfortable, because strength is not built in comfort, it is built in struggle. Look at nature, at the way the strongest trees grow. They do not grow tall and unshakable because they had perfect conditions. They grow strong because they endured storms, because they were tested by the wind, by the rain, by the elements. Their roots grew deeper because they were forced to withstand resistance. The same applies to you. If you are never tested, if you never struggle, if you never experience adversity, you will never grow. You will remain weak, fragile, incapable of handling life's challenges. But if you embrace the struggle, if you welcome the pain, if you lean into the discomfort instead of running from it, you will develop the kind of strength that nothing can break. Most people wish for an easy life, but an easy life does not create strong people. Ease makes you soft. It makes you complacent. It makes you dependent on comfort, on convenience, on things going your way. And the moment life throws a challenge at you, because it will, you won't be prepared. You will crumble, you will fold, you will break under pressure because you never trained yourself to handle the weight of struggle. But if you learn to embrace it, if you learn to seek out challenges instead of avoiding them, if you learn to put yourself in situations that force you to adapt, to grow, to evolve, then no amount of hardship will ever stop you. Struggle is the price of progress. You cannot expect to become stronger without resistance. You cannot expect to grow without pain. The gym is the perfect metaphor. When you lift weights, you are literally tearing your muscles apart so they can rebuild stronger. Without that resistance, without that struggle, without that pain, your muscles will never grow. The same applies to your mind, to your character, to your discipline. If you never struggle, you never grow. If you never experience failure, you never learn. If you never step outside of your comfort zone, you never discover how powerful you truly are. Most people see struggle as suffering, but suffering is a choice. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a mindset. Struggle only becomes suffering when you resist it, when you complain about it, when you see it as unfair instead of as fuel. But the moment you change your mindset, the moment you start seeing struggle as an opportunity instead of a punishment, everything changes. You stop dreading the hard times, you stop fearing failure, you stop looking for the easy way out. You start attacking challenges head on. You start pushing yourself beyond your limits. You start becoming the kind of person who thrives in adversity instead of crumbling under it. Every moment of struggle is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are stronger than you think, an opportunity to develop mental toughness, resilience, grit, an opportunity to separate yourself from the masses who run from difficulty and choose instead to become the kind of person who embraces it. Because the reality is, life will test you. Life will throw obstacles in your path. Life will knock you down. Life will challenge you in ways you never expected. And when that happens, the only question that matters is this: are you strong enough to handle it? Not because you were born strong, not because you got lucky, but because you trained for this. Because you conditioned yourself to face struggle with a warrior's mindset. Because you decided a long time ago that no matter what life throws at you, you will never quit. Tomorrow is the biggest lie you tell yourself. Tomorrow is the greatest illusion, the most dangerous excuse, the silent killer of dreams. Tomorrow is where the weak find comfort, where the undisciplined find shelter, where the fearful hide. Tomorrow is the word that keeps you stuck, that keeps you small, that keeps you from taking action. Because tomorrow never comes. It is always just out of reach, always an option, always an escape route for those who refuse to commit to what needs to be done right now. How many times have you said, I'll start tomorrow? How many times have you told yourself, I'll do it later? How many times have you let a goal, a vision, a decision sit on the shelf, gathering dust, while you wait for the perfect moment? But let me tell you something. The perfect moment does not exist. There will never be a day when everything aligns perfectly, when you suddenly feel completely ready, when every doubt disappears, when every obstacle clears. That day will never come, and if you keep waiting for it, you will die waiting. Action is not about waiting for the perfect time. It is about creating the perfect time right now. Procrastination is the enemy. It is a disease that infects the mind, that convinces you that delaying is harmless, that waiting is just a minor setback. But procrastination is not passive. It is destructive. Every time you delay action, every time you push something to tomorrow, you are training yourself to hesitate, to stall, to remain stuck. You are strengthening the habit of inaction. And that habit will rob you of every opportunity, every breakthrough, every success that could have been yours if only you had acted. The truth is, action creates momentum. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. The longer you delay, the more resistance builds. The mind is a battlefield, and every time you hesitate, you are giving weakness an advantage. Every time you say, not today, you are reinforcing the habit of avoidance, of indecision, of fear. But the moment you act, the moment you take that first step, the resistance starts to fade. The moment you move, the excuses lose power. The moment you commit, the momentum begins. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do you think they waited for motivation? Do you think they sat around hoping for the right moment, for the right circumstances, for some magical sign to tell them it was time to start? No. They acted. They moved forward even when they didn't feel like it, even when the conditions weren't ideal, even when they had doubts and fears and uncertainty. They understood that waiting is weakness and action is power. They knew that hesitation kills opportunities before they even have a chance to become reality. Look at your own life. Look at all the things you said you would do but never did. Look at the goals you set, the dreams you had, the ideas that excited you. Where are they now? Are they still just thoughts in your head, plans on a piece of paper, wishes that never turned into action? And why? Because you told yourself there would be time later, because you let tomorrow steal them from you, because you allowed hesitation to take control instead of grabbing the wheel and driving forward with relentless urgency. Urgency is the key. There is no time to waste. Every second you hesitate, someone else is taking action. Every day you delay, someone else is getting stronger, getting better, getting ahead. Life does not wait. The opportunities you see today may not be there tomorrow. The window will close, the door will shut, and you will be left with nothing but regret, wishing you had moved when you had the chance. Stop saying one day and make it day one. Stop waiting for motivation. It is a myth. Motivation does not come first. Action comes first. Action creates momentum. Momentum builds discipline, and discipline fuels progress. This is how you win. This is how you separate yourself from the majority of people who live in hesitation, who wait and wish instead of acting and executing. Start now. Start messy. Start imperfect. It does not matter how you start. It only matters that you do, because once you begin, everything changes. The hardest part is the first step, but once you take it, the fear starts to fade, the excuses lose their grip, the doubts begin to weaken, and suddenly you realize that everything you were waiting for was never something you needed, you just needed to move. There comes a moment when you must decide, who are you going to be? Are you going to be the person who lets weakness dictate your life, who allows excuses to shape your destiny, who stays comfortable while their potential rots away? Or are you going to rise? Are you going to take control? Are you going to face your fears, destroy your doubts, embrace the struggle, and kill the weakness that has been holding you back? This is not about motivation. This is not about hype. This is about reality. Your life is happening right now. Every second that passes is a second you will never get back. And the truth is, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to do the work for you. Nobody is going to force you to break free from your limitations. That is on you. Weakness is not something you are born with, it is something you allow to exist. It is something you feed every time you procrastinate, every time you give into fear, every time you settle for less than you are capable of. But just as weakness is built, it can be destroyed, it can be replaced with strength, with resilience, with unshakable discipline. But it starts with a decision to stop making excuses, a decision to stop waiting, a decision to act now. Because at the end of the day, there are only two types of people: those who kill their weakness and those who let their weakness kill them. Which one will you be?